Welcome
to the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 280 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. We're going to be hacking on some Firefox stuff today. I can't wait. Let's get started. Let's do it. Let me just share my screen. Let me pull up the agenda here. So today is February 23rd, 2022, episode 280. And a reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I have a sense of what I want to do today, but I don't know if I'm going to succeed. I don't know how things are going to go. We might get blocked, sidetracked, derailed, rabbit holed. All sorts of things could happen. We might just make no forward progress, but you'll get to watch the whole time and see me struggle, because that's the name of the game. The second thing you should know is that this agenda that we're looking at with all these handy dandy links is something that you have access to. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the video description for a link. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, it'll be in the video details section. And if you're on Twitch, then it should be in the Twitch chat right now. There you go. There it is. There it is in the Twitch chat. Hopefully that shows up in the Twitch chat. Sometimes the Joy of Coding Twitch chat works. Sometimes it doesn't. In fact, maybe let me just double check. If someone in the Twitch chat could just say something, and I'll see if it shows up inside of the live hacking Matrix channel, because that's where I just posted the agenda, and I have some bridging. It works. Boom. Thanks, Smurf D. Okay. So what I wanted to do today was, first of all, I want to follow up on some of the work that we did last week with probes and tell you how it's going and where that's at. Those weren't very big bugs that we were working on, but they were things that you watched me do, and so I figure we should follow up on them. And then the second thing is I wanted to revisit something that we were doing earlier this month, which was porting the video controls widget to using the Fluent system. And I don't think I've worked on that at all since the last time I worked on it with that, which was, I think, on February 2nd. I think it was in episode 277. So this is going to be like a continuation episode of episode 277 with the fact that, the added fact that I haven't worked on it in that much time. So, there'll be some sort of reloading context brain state back in, as well as dealing with any changes that may have happened in the platform or in the video controls since then. So that'll be very exciting. We're going to be rebasing the old patch, all sorts of business. So let's start with these probes. Where do they get to? Well, the code's all been reviewed. There were two patches in particular we were looking at, the tab close probes. That was this one. And I posted a patch, and I've posted it up for review. The patch has been reviewed. It's been accepted. I'm still waiting on data review. And then the other one was related to the About Home Startup cache probes. Which one was that? May have been this one. Yeah, 7 days ago. And this one is in the same state. The patch to update the probes, they have been approved. I'm just waiting on data review. So our data stewards are looking through the review requests and the data renewal requests that I've posted, and then they will approve them or deny them based on the information I put in. And that will let me know whether or not I can land these patches to bump the expiry. Or they might say, no, we don't want you to collect this information anymore, in which case we will remove the probes. So we'll see how it goes, but just a little update there. I wanted to now fast forward to this other bug. So this is the video controls to Fluent thing. I'm not going to re-explain what this bug is about. I don't want to do that again, especially because I did it so recently in episode 277. So if you're curious, maybe don't watch this stream first. Maybe go watch 277. You'll get all that context, and then come back to 280. But what I need to do actually is get some of that context myself. Let's see where we ended up. 277, Joy of Coding, episode 277. Let's see where I ended in this one. It's a little recursive, a little Joy of Coding within the Joy of Coding. Where did we get to? I think we were dealing with test failures. Like that. Oh yeah, I was trying to hack my way around various test failures that we were hitting. And it's basically your security passport. Oh, we realized that the L10N property wasn't allowed, or I didn't have access to it in the scope that I wanted it in, which was the Moki test, I believe. Um, what is that? Position duration. And yeah, there were some test failures, and let's see if we can run some of these tests and see where they're at. But first, excuse me, we have to rebase the old patches. So let's start there. So let me clear my terminal and zoom in so you can see. Whoa! Moved to the wrong display. What you doing, iTerm? What you doing? Yeah, I had found the patch before. Here, this is easier if you use HG whip, actually. It doesn't show everything. It just shows you your stuff in relation to other things. So it's this one. And I had added like this sort of debugging commit on top. So let's take those. We're going to rebase those onto tip. And see what happens. See if it rebases cleanly. Hit some conflicts. All right. So let's see. Let's deal with those conflicts. Let me start by. Hold on a second. I want to make sure I wasn't working on a security bug in my editor here. I forgot to close my editor. I want to make sure I don't have anything in here you're not supposed to see. Okay. We're going to open up a new window maybe. Where did it go? Where are you, Sublime Text? I said open up. Do I just have to say new file? Oh, I'm looking at it. What is wrong with me? It's right here. Okay, so here we are, and I'm gonna close these because they're not relevant. Close. What I want to open up is this file, videocontrols.js, and look for our. Oh yeah, we've got some conflicts here. So what happened inside of video controls in the meantime? It looks like maybe some ARIA labels got added. Some accessibility work occurred. So that might have an impact on how this patch works. Let's take a quick look at the patch where that was introduced. So this is a line from something that got introduced. We'll go ahead and we're going to leave this in the background. We might not need that. None of this looks new. This all looks like it was there before. I don't know why it was having such a problem with it. Let's look at the log. So some recent patches that landed are keyboard and screen reader access improvements. So we can take a look at that patch. Click to play ARIA label patch. Let's take a look at that. And this one that changes the video seek time to 5 seconds by default. videocontrols.js. There's some work here on setting the ARIA states. Showing and hiding the closed caption menu. I don't think that's what we're hitting. We might be hitting this conflict, a conflict for this change here. How about the click to play ARIA label one? Yeah, maybe that's what we're hitting, is that this one here. Click to play set attribute ARIA label. This is new. Okay. And what were we doing before? We were getting the state on whether or not we were paused. We were getting the ID of the string that we wanted. And then we set the attribute such that the set attributes on the play button, we set the L10N ID to be this. Okay. Set ARIA label. So I presume we also want the ARIA label to be the same thing. I believe that's something that we can do with Fluent. Like I believe ARIA label is one of those things we can also supply. So we can update instead of well, we set it on the play button. We also want to put it on the click to play button. So let's take a look at our video controls Fluent file. Yeah, it looks like we were already doing the ARIA label stuff. So it looks like we just want to do the exact same thing on the click to play button. Okay. So click to play. I think that's what we want to do here. All right, next up. Yeah, these were our other merge conflicts here. And if you're wondering why I'm not using like a merge tool like KDiff, or there are a couple of different merge tools. I cannot stand three-way merge tools. It's not I'm not a fan. I prefer these conflict markers. But that's, float however you want to float your boat, do whatever it makes sense for you. So what happened down here under, where are we? We're inside generate content on line 2869 near this casting button thing. I think we saw a change here inside of the screen reader one. So what happened was that we had this button and then some additional ARIA controls got added to it. Before it just had, what did it just have? It just had the data L10N ID, because it looks like we were already using Fluent on some of this. The closed caption button. That's nice. That's nice. I didn't know that. I didn't know we were already using some Fluent for video controls. Not much, but just a little bit. This is added by James. Not that long ago. Okay, cool. So a button got added. The ARIA controls attribute was added. ARIA has pop-up, ARIA expanded, and then the data L10N ID for video controls closed caption button, which was originally used down here. And then we have another div. This is something new, the track list container, and it's using a mixture of both. Wild. It's using a mixture of both DTD and Fluent. Huh. Let's take a look at the final state of this thing. And it's using a data L10N ID of closed caption button. Whoops. And that sets ARIA label to closed captions, and then we have this off label. So the ARIA label on the track list also has this label of closed captions. The button and the container, I guess it's some kind of pop-up menu. They both have that same label. Okay. ARIA has pop-up menu. I understand. Okay, so let's try and deconflict this a little bit. Before, what we were changing was what were we doing? If I look at the old patch, what was it doing around here? No. Around casting button. We changed it from casting label to using, we got rid of all of those attributes. So let's actually get rid of the change that we we're trying to make here. We'll just kind of like isolate it away, and we'll put this stuff back. Oh, there's a bit of this, eh? So this stuff goes here, and then this was like new, but we already have the trackless container here. So we're basically having to merge the work. So this is the new-ish trackless container with Fluent, but we need to make sure it has the right ARIA stuff. So hidden, true, role, presentation. Okay, so that all can stay the same. Then we have the ID, the class, data L10N ID. Here, that's what we're going to bring in. We're going to bring in these two parts. Closed caption off. Wait a second. Is that? Yeah, on the track list. Okay. Okay, that's what you want to do. All right. Okay. And then fold. This stuff is no longer relevant, I don't believe. This can go away. This can go away. So this is like this vestigial stuff that tried to merge but couldn't. So where does it go? The casting button. I think it belongs up here, actually. Instead of putting ARIA label, we'll put video controls casting button label, because that should have an ARIA label. Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't. So casting button was going to set casting button label, but that just sets this label. It doesn't set the ARIA attribute, ARIA label attribute. And the ARIA label attribute was added. Casting button. It had one, casting label. Interesting. Yeah. That doesn't look right. Data L10N ID, video controls casting button label. Shouldn't just be like cast to screen. I think it's supposed to be the ARIA label, actually. This might be wrong. All right, we'll put that there for now. Button. So then we'll put the ID in. Oh, data L10N ID equals such and such. And then we can get rid of this because this is the same closed caption button as this. And then we should have it, I believe. So let's review, because I know that was a lot. We're supposed to have a casting button after the volume stack, and a closed caption button, and a tracklist container. That got moved, it looks like, as part of the this change that we're merging with. So that was part of the complication. That's fine. And then the full screen button. Okay, and we've removed these data DTDs. So do we have any DTDs left over? So there's this closed caption off one. I have a feeling that's not supposed to be there. Yeah, we're supposed to use this stuff instead. So we'll get rid of this. And we'll put this in. Oh, yeah, we already have those things. So we just get rid of the off label. Let's line up that attribute. What else do we see? Any other? I don't see any leftover DTDs. The ampersands really make them stand out, so Let's look to see if there are any other conflict markers. No, I think we're good. All right, let's see if that works. So we'll resolve this one. If you can list all the conflicted files, and you can say, hey, all right, this one I think is done. Video controls.js. All right, let's continue our rebase. Merging. Hey, all right. So we finished our rebase, and hopefully it makes sense what happened. I don't even know what's in this debugging patch. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, it's me just like dumping stuff. Yeah, I have a feeling this is me just debugging and messing around trying to figure out why things are the way they are. Okay, so let's build and take a look at what the video controls look like now. I didn't see any questions come in on the rate this episode form last week. So if people have questions about what I'm doing or Fluent or anything like that, let me know. Just drop it in the chat. Thanks, Andreas. So apparently rebasing is a surprisingly soothing experience. Hey, I can make it even smoother. Hey, gang. All right, let's check out the video controls. We're gonna do some like late night radio video controls debugging here. Let's pull up Big Buck Bunny. Oh, fully broken video controls. So we're gonna have to look into see what's going on here. Line number 23, column 15. Looks like it was a bad rebase. So let's figure out what went wrong. All right, gonna mute that. Line number 23, column 15. What went wrong? Line number 23. Column 15. That can't be right. I have a feeling that these line numbers are bogus because it's parsed. It's parsed markup, so the line numbers are all bogus. Yeah, this is a total ASMR edition of the Joy of Coding. Hey, we're all gonna hang out. Everything's gonna be great. Hey, if this is what you want the Joy of Coding to become, we can totally do that. I've got my nice wide diaphragm mic here, and we can just take it easy if you don't want me to be super energetic. All right, so let's find this button. ID equals click to play. ID equals click to play. Holy smokes. Okay, so we've got a couple here because we create two different bindings. We've got one when you've got like no controls on mobile. I don't think that's what we're hitting. And then we've got this one over here where you have full-blown controls on desktop. And I think the problem is that this thing is actually, part of what I rebased on actually added a new DTD, and we're not supposed to use DTDs. So what we need to do is port this from being a DTD into being a Fluent string. And, unfortunately, this is one of those things that it explodes so poorly whenever a DTD is missing. We get what's called the yellow screen of death. That's what we're kind of seeing here, a representation of what we have always called the yellow screen of death, which is an XML parsing error because it's looking for an entity, in this case the play button.playlabel entity that is missing, and it fails just spectacularly. Excuse me. You probably don't want to hear me burp in high definition, so I turned away. Okay, so let's see if we can port this thing to Fluent. So we got this play button.playlabel, and we probably have video controls.dtd still. No, where is playlabel? Where is that coming from? So there was a play controls play label. I see. And what are we currently using it for? Because maybe we're supposed to be reusing it. We use it on the click to play button and on the play button. So click to play button. Where's the play button? Right here. And oh yeah, this is what we had worked on before, where they were setting the ARIA label. We can just get rid of that ARIA label entirely, because we've got a script now over here. Not start fade, it's the L10N thing. Set attribute. L10N set attributes. We were doing it earlier. Here, on the click to play button, we set play dynamically based on whether or not it's played or paused. So we're all good now. We don't need that DTD. All right, let's reload this thing and see what happens. Big Buck Bunny time. All right, we got our video controls. Do we have our ARIA labels? I have no idea. Let's see, we've got our time showing up. That's good. We can use the accessibility tools to sort of inspect this thing and check it out. It's got labels: play, position, mute, volume, full screen, a bunch of there's like this weird graphic in the corner. I don't know what that is. But then the play button, if I hit it, it changes its label to pause. So that's working nicely. And the click to play button, I'm not entirely certain how we trigger click to play. Maybe from just like making it so that this thing can't auto play. Trying to think of what's a good example of a non-auto playing video. Maybe if I go to HTML5 videos and go here, I'll bet you these show the click to play button. That's this thing. So let's examine that. Yeah, and it says play. That's great. That's great. How's the ASMR? Are we digging this? Is this really annoying? I can't tell if people were being serious when they said it should always be like this. If this is super annoying, if it's getting obnoxious, let me know. If this is what you all are into, you know, that's cool. I can keep doing this. So let me know. So I think our Fluent migration has worked properly. But now we have to figure out if our tests are still failing. So we're going to quit right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use a command called hgabsorb, because what I've got here is I've got some changes that have not been committed that I don't want to commit to the debugging patch. I want them to be part of this. And so there's this really great command called hgabsorb, which will attempt to determine where the changes in my commit stack should go, my uncommitted changes. So I'm going to try it and we're going to see if it can guess it. So hgabsorb, no, it couldn't guess it. This is apparently a Mark Wahlberg impression. Hey, we're what would Mark Wahlberg say when he's programming? Hey, how's your mother? We're gonna work on some code here. We're working with Fluent. Hey, say hi to your mother for me. All right, we're gonna do this. Yeah, it's like not sure what I want to do here. I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna go hg update here. No, doesn't like it. Okay, in that case, hg shelve, hg update here. And then I'm going to replay. Oh, man. And Mercurial is going to use this as an opportunity to install a bunch of stuff from NPM for linting. That's actually not Mercurial's fault. I have a hook enabled such that a bunch of linting happens on commits, which is great for making sure that I don't accidentally commit stuff that's going to fail our linting step, but also means that periodically commits take a little bit longer because a bunch of NPM stuff has to happen. JavaScript. Node. All right. Say hi to your mother for me. That's what I associate with Mark Wahlberg. I think when I think of Mark Wahlberg, I think of Andy Samberg's impression of Mark Wahlberg. And so I can't think of anything else he's been in except that band. No, it was his brother, Donnie Wahlberg, that was part of the what was it? Not Backstreet Boys, New Kids on the Block. Yeah, I'm showing my age. Hey, what's going on here? Hey, hey, Mercurial, how come you taking so long? Say hi to your mother for me. All right. I don't know. So Watchmen is this thing. If you're curious, Watchmen is this thing that tries to like. Oh, The Other Guys. He was in The Other Guys. I think I may have seen that. He was also in the Departed, which I also saw, and it was very good. But I can't actually remember either of those performances. I just remember enjoying the films. Okay, so now we've got our changes shelved, and then I went back a commit. Now I'm going to unshelve them. Normally it doesn't take this long, but I guess it went to go get a bunch of stuff from NPM. So we're going to unshelve our change. Watchmen is really struggling. I don't know what's going on here. So I was in the middle of explaining what Watchmen is. Watchmen is a tool that sits in the background and watches changes to the repository and uses it as an opportunity to re-index as a performance optimization. Think of it as like a thing that's always watching the file system and telling Mercurial, hey, I saw a file change. Time to re-index. And I think it's really struggling right now. It's timing out. So I don't know if like it is not something that Mercurial needs, but it is something that is very helpful in making Mercurial more performant, I find. So a lot of great suggestions from Mark Wahlberg films inside of the Live Hacking Matrix channel, in particular The Other Guys and The Departed. Great choices. Okay, we need to figure out what are the tests that were failing before so that we can attempt to refix them. Wow, this is really struggling. Okay, so what were the tests? I think it was video controls _ direction. So let's find out where those are. Craig is typing. So it was under Toolkit Content Test Widgets. This test in particular, the video controls direction test. So we're gonna try those out. So we have uncommitted our change here. I'm going to amend and then next, and that will allow us to I'm pretty sure this the node scripts, the npm stuff, the linting I'm doing on my hook does slow things down. In particular, this Watchman thing. I really apologize. You're having to watch me sit here and wait. It normally does not take this long, so I don't know what's going wrong. I might have to like restart the Watchman service. In fact, let's try and figure out how to do that right now. Watchman, Mercurial, FS monitor, for faster results, file monitoring. All right, this is the project. And how do I restart the daemon? Docs. Recrawl, avoiding recrawls. Where are the logs? I don't know. Watchman shutdown server. Okay. Wait. Quit the prompt. So I've amended. I want to just rebase this on top. Meanwhile, let's see if we can restart our Watchman service. Help. Shut down server. How do I restart the server? Shut down server, help. Come on. Watchman, shut down server. How do I make the service restart? How do we start the service? Watch project. Maybe if I just shut down the service, it will automatically restart. So let's try. Let's find out. Okay, we've shut down the server. Oh man, that broke this other thing that I'm using right now to update the agenda on the fly, because that also uses Watchmen. So I just watched a whole bunch of stuff break in the background. It's okay, I've restarted it. So maybe it's all good now. Okay, so we've got our changes. Wow, that was a long walk. Let's go back up here. We're going to build and we're going to run our test. Watchmen is still unavailable. What is going wrong? Performing initial crawl. How do we avoid crawls? Crawl. Cover situations lost sync with the state of the file system. Frequent recrawls are undesirable. There are no simple formula for setting your system limits. Bigger is better. Oh man. This is brutal. Anyway, we're done our build. Let's run a test. Okay, so the test we want to run is video controls direction test. This is I believe, a Moki test. Yeah. So we're going to run that test and see what happens. I have a feeling it's still going to fail. We should also see if there were any recent tests added by these changes. Added or modified. It looks like a test was added here. And a test was added here. And no test was added for this one. So we're going to want to rerun this entire directory maybe. Huh. Let's just run the whole directory. It didn't even find video controls direction test. I don't know why. Because it exists. Oh, because that's just the helper script. I see. Let's just run the whole directory. Toolkit components widget. No. Toolkit content widgets tests. No? Tests widgets. There we go. Let's run the whole directory. I like how the chat is turning into a big Marky Mark appreciation thread. That's great. Say hi to your mother for me. All right, let's run these tests. A bunch of tests getting run. That's great. Okay, those tests passed all right. What's next? Okay, we got a couple of failing tests. We have 2 failing tests. 8 failing tests. All right. Let us start a list. So, active bugs. I had already started a note here, and I don't remember what this was for, but what we can do is we can start editing this a little bit and add our list of failing tests as almost like a checklist. Although all of these appear, well, no, that's not true. They're not all in the same file. Most of them are clustered in one file. Tool test video control size. So let's look at that. Let's look at that second. Or let's look at that first. Actually, test video control size. First of all, does it fail consistently? So mock Moki test. There. What's another thing that Marky Mark says? Try Wahlburgers. Oh, that's really interesting. This passed this time. Let's try it again. Okay, what if I run it with if I run it in a series? So one of the things we're able to do is when we are running tests, widget tests, no, tests widget Moki test.any. This test video control size. it's run as part of a series of tests. And when they're run as a series, they're actually run, inside of this like little subframe. And I wonder if the actual subframe is causing the test failure to occur. So what we can do is, instead of waiting to run this whole series, we'll say, run this directory. Let's start at test video controls VTT, and we're going to end at that one. I think that'll work. Let's find out. Say hi to your mother for me. I don't think this is doing what I thought it was going to do. This is running just the whole full-blown suite again. Okay. Widgets, mock, Moki test. Why does it run like two of them? There's browser.ini, and what's the other one? There are two suites of tests. Let's look in the directory. Toolkit, content, tests, widgets. There's like the Chrome Moki tests and the Moki tests. So one thing you can do is you can pass in the ini file if it's not sure which tests you want to run, because I guess I didn't specify a flavor. It's like, hey, I haven't found any tests that you want to run. No checks are actually run, because I guess it's not able to. Maybe I don't need to supply the .html. Unfortunately, start at and end at, I don't think I fully understand them. Let's see what happens if I do it just this way. Yeah, it worked. Wild. Oh, it's running all of them. Okay. Interestingly, we got our failures this time. So I do think it has something to do with the size of the iframe that it's running inside of. Test video controls size. Let's take a look at this document. And when did this get introduced? Was this? This is not a new test. Oops, come on. This was added way back in the day, 2016. Like, what if I should make sure that the content is like 1000, height equals 1000, just as a test. Let's see what happens. Does that affect it? It's a little bit of an experiment. Because I'm just curious. Yeah, that did affect it. The number of test failures went down from 8 to 6, which is wild because what we touched was not like the ones that ended up passing are not the ones that we touched. That's bizarre. Now, before I continue, it would be great if I could figure out how the start at and end at thing worked. Let me just quickly review if I can find any documents. Start at. Is there anything in here? Tests. Ugh. Here we go. Debugging intermittence. You can use start at and end at flags with mock move test to run it. Oh, it doesn't really tell you what you pass it. Update the title for start at. If config start at end at run subset of tests. Config start at end at. Okay, start at. If option start, then start at equals. Has that ever worked? Like, is that what's getting passed? I'm kind of getting down a rabbit hole here, but I want to see what's being passed here. XPC shell. Do we pass it? Those arguments. Self URL opt. Oh, it's part of the URL that's browsed to. I understand. Okay, so we have to let it run a little bit longer. And we'll take a look at the page that's loaded. Nothing? All right, how about keep open? That's going to keep the window open. I apologize for getting so distracted. A440 is some kind of test tone. Yeah, I think that's what Danny Cullen is referring to. So start at and end at is being supplied, but it's just not being abided by. Test runner, start at. Gconfig.start at. Skip tests. File name skip tests. Let's find out what this thing does. Here, chunkify tests. Start test pattern. And test path ends with interesting. Okay, I can work with this. Chunkify tests. I never knew how this stuff worked. Start index is and end index is. Let's see what that does. That work? Am I even allowed to print stuff? How's this gonna go? Getting a little distracted, but the whole reason I want to do this is so I can run the tests more quickly. Dumping test context for browser. Start index is 19, end index is 15. Did I get them reversed? Is that why? Start at test video controls VTT. End at test video control size. What? So why are the indexes all wrong? What? Show me dump test dot phi tests. Yeah. A440, that's what my music teacher always told me to make sure my tuner was set to. I don't exactly know what it means, but I think it has to do with like frequency. So the order is dimensions, then Holy smokes, you know what? I think these are being automatically put into alphabetical order. And these are out of alphabetical order. Wow. That's really unintuitive. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do to make things easier. Is we're going to put this in alphabetical order. We can actually use the this listing here. So it was audio controls dimensions, and then the test bug 165. That was this one. I'll put that next. This is worth it, trust me. And then 898. What? There it is. Remove that one with its skip if rules, and then mouse capture area. Where is it? So this is why these should always be in alphabetical order. What? Mouse capture. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's already there. Okay. And then UA widget sandbox, then unbind, then video controls. Those are in the right spots. And then audio, video controls, HTML, video controls audio, then audio direction. Video controls, audio, then direction, then click to play. Video controls, click to play, and then closed caption menu, and then error. Whoops. And then whoopsie daisy. And then iframe full screen. And what was after that? JS disabled. I know this isn't probably the funnest thing to watch, but trust me, this will all pay off in the end. JS disabled, key handler, boom, done. Video control size, and then standalone. And then video direction, video no audio. Video direction, video no audio. VTT. And then where's orientation go? I must have missed it. Is it skipped? It's skipped, that's why. Okay, so we'll put that manually. We'll figure out, I think we can figure it out. LMNO, there it is. JKLMNO. Okay, so now when we run this, it should regenerate the list, and then the indexes should be the right number. Wait, no, I have to supply the right ones now. It's like video controls size is the one we care about. So let's put orientation before that. Start at video controls orientation, and then video controls size. This should work. So I'm going to take a to-do. Lesson learned. Like, I need to share that information with my fellow engineers out there, that this is how this stuff works. Why is it doing key handler? Didn't need to do key handler. I asked it to do orientation then size. Why did it do key handler? Let's look at its list again. Okay. Dimensions or video controls. HIEFGH. Where's orientation? Did I put orientation in the wrong spot? Oh, because it's skipped. That's why. Ah, fool. I should have done key handler as my first one. And then I need to put in here, how come I can't escape this like formatting that I'm in? This like gray formatting. Help me escape. That's why. Okay. To-dos. File a bug to add linter that puts all Moki test ini files into alphabetical order. Okay, that's important. Okay, let's run this. And this should be nice and short. And this was a long walk so that we could run our tests very quickly and not have to run them all. We're trying to find the minimal set. Okay, so we've got our because when we run it on its own, that still passes, right? If I just run video control size, it will pass. I think that has been our observation. I should write this down. Yeah, running on its own passes. So I have to run it with another test in order to hit the failure. Now, ideally, this test that runs just before it is actually a little too long. I wonder if I will temporarily unskip this one and put it back to running the orientation test. Let's see if that one passes. And then see if this is faster. Because the faster we can make the test run, the faster we can create the sort of like feedback loop on whether or not we're making forward progress. I always find that's a good first step when dealing with a bug like this, is shorten the feedback loop. No, this is not slow. This is slower, much slower. Let's see if we can find a different one. Let's skip if true or, and we'll do the JS disabled one. JS disabled. Oh, there's no underscore. Okay. Say hi to your mother for me. Good, much faster. That's, I think, is as good as it's going to get. Progress container should longer than 48. What does that mean? So let's look at the actual test itself and see what it's testing and failing to pass on. Longer than. So it's talking about the scrubber widths. What happens is this test, what does it do? For each video element, we push a function that returns a promise that resolves after this test UI function runs. Test cases push. So there's like, we wait until the metadata is loaded and that resolves. So then we just sort of like, I think we go through these test cases, we execute the individual tasks, and then we call simple test finish IC. So let us now see what happens if we increase this area even further. Let's see if that influences the test. Duration should be high. Got false, expected true. Size 22. it doesn't impact it. What happens if we wait? Now, the reason I'm doing all this is because simple test. The reason I'm doing all this is because I find the fact that it passes whenever it's run in isolation rather mysterious. So let's try this. Windows set timeout. Instead of executing soon, let's see what happens if we do a set timeout that runs after 1 second. How many video elements are there? Oh man, that'll take a while. So let's reduce that to 100 milliseconds. Because I want to see if it's a layout, like a race related to it, and how it's laid out. Well, this is complaining because the test attempted to use a flaky layout, and we're failing some of the tests. So it's even worse. So using set timeout did not help. Yeah, we tend not to like to use timeouts, but it's upset because I tried to use it as a debugging tool. Okay, well, then the next thing we need to do is kind of go through these one at a time to figure out what's going wrong here. Let's try and reduce this even further. So for one of these videos, we don't know which one it is. One of these videos is failing. I think it's the one that complains about 48. Progress container should longer than 48. Should then min scrubber width, which is touch control. I see. So I don't know which one it is. Let's try and reduce the number of videos that we have to deal with. Let's just take this first one. See if that one fails. That one does not fail. Let's add a few more. So kind of bisecting by hand here. I'm very curious to know if we can reduce, again, it's reducing the loop, the feedback loop, trying to make this pass or fail as quickly as possible. Okay, so we've got some failures, and it's in some of these videos, but we don't think it's the first video. Can we reduce it even further? Is it one of these two? Maybe we can do this headless as well, so we don't have so much flashing around. Let me just double check, because sometimes headless will affect things as well. I don't want to switch to it unless we're confident that it's not having an impact on the test. Okay, it is having an impact on the test. So one of these two. Is it the first one? It is the first one. So this one should now fail. I put this like this. It's this one video of height 240 or width 240, height 320. Oh, that's interesting. Do they both need to be involved? If that's the case, I want to see what this looks like. Huh. And now it passed. So do we have some inconsistency here? Let's run this again. Do we have some intermittent failure? Am I losing my marbles? What? Let's add this one. Do they all just pass now? Is their job done? Has the fish escaped the bucket? Has the fish escaped the bucket? He screamed into the void. Wait a second. Okay, now we put that video back. Hold on. I am skeptical. 180 by 320, 120 by 320. All right, run it again. This time with my mouse cursor over here. No, that's not it. Is anyone else seeing this? That's some the inconsistency. Am I seeing this just by myself? I'm trying to find the minimal set. Maybe I require all of these videos. You know, that might make sense. If this has to do with layout, maybe it's less to do with an individual video and more about the full set of videos, the way they're laid out. And one way we could try and reduce the time of this test is to reduce the number of video elements that we get. So instead of getting all of the elements that are the video elements, we'll get let's get the fourth one, or sorry, the fifth one at index 4. Swifty says, yes, hence my lol. Yes. Watch me suffer with intermittent test failures. There you go. Get element by tag name returns a node list and not an array. What are we talking about, right? All right, fine, do that. Quit being so difficult, test. Okay. We got one. We got one. So 180 by 320, that's this one. Video at index 4. The fifth one here. This is the one that's failing. The duration should hide. Duration should hide. This is line 104. Excuse me. The control, the duration label should be hidden, but it's not. So let's keep this open and see if we can see what's going, get like an actual visual indication of what's going on here. So we expect the duration label to not be present. Can I just keep this loaded? Can I just not finish? Where does it say finish? Just don't finish. And we can open up DevTools and take a closer look. What are we looking at here? This frame, show only this frame. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one. So we expect the duration to be hidden, I think. And it is. What was the actual failure? Scooby-Doo. Oh man, there's so much logging I put in. Test start. Where does it fail? Test pass, ton expected failed. The duration should be hidden. But the duration is hidden. Okay. Let's see here. Well, I did expand it out. What would be nice is if we could actually scroll around inside of that test runner sort of frame and see what it looks like inside of the frame. So how do I make this scrollable? This frame. Test frame. Let's make it scrollable. Can I scroll? Seriously? Scrolling is no on it? Forget that. Okay. Oh, interesting. When it's laid out like this, they're all kind of like in this line. And the duration does appear to be hidden. Let's double check that the one we care about, what we're going to do is we're going to decorate it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to outline it in red. And then the other thing we're going to do is this test runner thing, the test frame. ID equals test frame. Moki test. Harness. Scrolling equals. Seriously? Test frame. Who said scrolling equals no on this thing? Single test run. Set attribute scrolling to no. Test runner. This removes that. What in the heck? Who adds it? Frame, test frame, frame source. Test run tests. Find argument. If single test run case. Widget. No. Might might be this. I don't know. Let's take a look at the document. Auto run. What is this? Based on Moki kit unit tests. What is this? Small. Where do we link to mokikit.com? Inside of server. Aha. We can. What is this? So we construct some kind of. Oh man, look at this. This is why this was so hard to. Oh, this is ancient stuff. Okay, Moki test server.js scrolling. We're gonna get rid of that. Wild. This is wild stuff, people. Wild stuff. The Moki test framework, very old, before my time. I don't know what's going on with it. Okay. So this is the one we care about. Look, the duration is present, and that's why it's failing. We expect this duration to, I guess, not be present. So why is it present? Let's think for a second. So what this stuff is exercising. Well, first of all, is this actually broken, or is this a test that is kind of flaky? Let's see if we can find that out. Big Buck Bunny again. Can I make this video resizable? Video. Can I say like resizable? No. Can I wrap it in something that's resizable? HTML resizable. I think there's something resize property. That's maybe what I'm thinking of. Resize. That's what I want. Resize. How does it work? Text area resize. On arbitrary elements, you can resize to make any element resizable. Yeah, that's what I want. So we say resize both. So I'll get rid of that. Instead, on the body, I'll say resize both. Does that work? Can I do that? No? How about on the video? Resize both. Can I? Are you lying to me? Overflow. JS bin. Paragraph. I'm resizable. CSS. So why aren't you resizable? How do you make it resizable? Oh, I think you have to say that it's, maybe you have to supply an overflow rule. Okay. That's why. Overflow scroll. What? Still not resizable? Overflow scroll. Not resizable. Can I put this inside this? And then say controls on it. Okay. Good news, everyone. Good news, everyone. And then can I make this thing flex? No, sorry. Flex. Where's the resizer? I may have screwed myself here. Everybody. What do I want to do? Width equals 500 px, height 500 px. Video 500 px. Okay, so how do I make the video flex with it? I'm trying to remember how this works. We did this. Oh, hang on. Width. Hang on. I mean, this needs to be display. Actually, I'm kind of panicking here. Not flex. How do I make this work the way I think it's supposed to work? That might be the problem, is that it was a paragraph. Border red and we have to apply this rule. Okay. Do I have... Thank goodness. That makes more sense. Okay. So look at what we've got here. We've got this behavior where when we shrink this size, the first thing that goes is the volume, then the remaining duration, and then the current position, and then, or like the playhead scrubber, and then finally the volume toggle. Play and pause are like the last thing we keep around. So those are the rules. And it sounds like the issue is that we've changed things somewhat in with our build here. Now that I've got this, I can publish it. Save a snapshot. Okay, so let's see if we can recreate the issue. Oh yeah, look. We never show the remaining duration. We've broken that somehow. So that's an issue. Why is that? No, it's appearing here. So for some reason it's not appearing here. And that's our first thing that I think we can investigate, like as an actual broken behavior. One thing we can do is we can start inspecting the content of the anonymous sort of the shadow area within the video element. So like the stuff that we add for video controls is in this shadow DOM. We can inspect it with our dev tools once we flip this pref inspector show all anonymous content, because that allows us to kind of like drill in a little bit and go like, whoop. Hang on, we have to focus the right frame. That one. And find our video. Oh, do we have to restart? We might have to restart. Okay, try again. Enough sound from you. And inspect our video. Okay, so we can get inside the shadow root. Look at the video controls. We're going to expand this thing out and see if we can find the mute. Okay, I want the view controls, picture and toggle, control bar at the bottom, position duration box. That's that one, and then position, and then duration is 956, and it's only showing the position and not the duration. Because it's hidden. This thing has been hidden on us. If I remove that attribute, that hidden attribute, it comes back. Hidden equals false. Does this... Wait, what is going on here? You know, I'll bet you this is being updated. Like, what I have here is a snapshot that is out of date. Like, if I do that and get at the... Get me at it. Come on. Show. I want to execute in the runner. Seriously? I need this thing. Give it to me. Give me access to this. It was set to hidden. And we're definitely not at 37 still. We're at... How do I make sure that this is up to date? Basically, I think DevTools is lying to us a little bit here. And in fact, maybe I can do better by using the browser toolbox to get a fresh look. Control bar, duration box. Yeah, 154 duration. And this is once again hidden. And this stuff gets hidden. I've looked into this. Someone says you don't have auto refresh in DevTools. I have a feeling we're hitting a real weird edge case, Smurfd, which is that Fluent is updating stuff on the fly inside the Shadow DOM. And so I think our DevTools is falling over in that particular edge case, which is not something I would expect web developers to ever hit, using Fluent in the Shadow DOM of, in particular, a UA widget. So that's a very special kind of gecko thing that doesn't exist. You can't create those on the web. So I have a feeling that's what we're falling into here. Is it's a very sort of niche problem for us browser devs that web developers probably wouldn't hit. Because yeah, normally when stuff is updated on the fly, you do generally see it reflected inside of the DevTools. It might also be because of this pref, like the anonymous content thing might not update properly. That might also be it. So that hidden rule being applied or not being applied, as I understand it, has to do with where I've added logging. The hidden attribute is controlled by hidden by adjustment. Is hidden explicitly, is hidden by adjustment. Because like there's this very complicated pieces of machineries where like we set the hidden state on a particular control. We've got a minimum test case here though, like kind of. We've got this thing with a particular ID. So what we can do is add some very specific logging. If control.id equals this, then we can say dump setting duration span hidden to control.is hidden explicitly. And adjustment. It's my own control.is hidden by adjustment. And what would also be nice is a stack. So stack So let's reload this. Let's take a look at our console here. Setting duration span hidden to, and what's the rule? False and true. So if either of them are true, then it gets hidden. So by adjustment is true, and that's on adjust control size when we're handling a particular event. Now let's resize this a little bit. Let's make it nice and big. And we're saying, hey, hidden should be false. Hidden should be false. But it's not actually updating the hidden attribute. We haven't removed the hidden attribute. Now, why is that? Interesting question. Is control the right DOM element? Are we barking up the wrong tree? True. Is controller false? Okay, I think I know what's going wrong. I think I know what's going wrong. Hoo boy. Okay, control of adjustable controls. Define properties on the control. And the control is from prioritize controls. This is so complicated. Prioritize controls equals these things. Play button, including the duration span, which I erased from this. Maybe I should put that back. Duration span. Export. Duration span. Yeah, get elements by tag. I added this as well. Okay, I think I know what's going wrong, and I'll explain in a second. And then we're going to put that back. Span equals that. Okay, we did put that back. Okay. So here's what I think is going wrong. Not DevTools. Fluent has this really neat feature which allows us to overlay items inside of the DOM with that have pre-existing markup. Let me give you an example. Inside of our video controls here, we have this duration span thing. Duration span. Which is held inside this position duration box. Let me find the markup for you. Here it is. So we have this position duration box, which has the span inside it with this special attribute, data L10N name equals position duration format. And one of the advantages to doing this is that, or like what we're trying to do here is we have this markup defined, but we have no strings involved. But what we do have is in our L10N string, or our L10N ID thing for the duration business here, we have this construction that allows us to define the string with markup to properly render the position and the duration with the markup involved. And what happens is, supposedly, the duration is supposed to be injected in the right spot. Like, it's supposed to find the associated span, data L10N name, and then inject the duration, this part, inside it, based on this L10N string. That's how it's supposed to work. I worry that what's actually happening is that the contents are being replaced. So let's see if that's the case. And so this is going to require us to dig a little bit into how data L10N name works. I don't want to spend too long on this. I know I'm going over time a little bit, but I do want to understand this. So data L10N name, how does that work? Let's quickly look up the Fluent documentation. Data L10N name, the idea is you can do markup localization. You localize a fragment, take care of the rest, populating the element with the message value. Developer provides only a single message to localize the whole element, including the value and the selected attributes. So you create this fragment, and then Fluent will overlay the translation onto the source fragment, preserving attributes, the pre-existing attributes, and adding translation inside. Attributes to be maintained. So, does fragment translation or markup localization, does it, like, it's definitely manipulating the DOM. Does it remove the underlying element that you're overlaying? That's what I want to know. So data L10N name. Let's see how that implementation works. This is definitely going to be in our either in our C++. L10N name. Test L10N overlays. That's good. We'll start with the tests. Assign literal. Hello world. Translate the element. Get the inner HTML of it. Verify that the inner HTML match the expectations. Okay. L10N overlays. Translate element. Let's look for data L10N name. Okay. Get name node for named element. What do we do with that? Get the node. We sanitize it and replace it. Get node for named element sanitized. So for each child node of a fragment, we get a sanitized node, and then we replace it. Replace child. Yeah, it's sanitized, and then we replace it. That's exactly what happens. That's the problem. Okay, so let me write this down. Our video controls does all of this gunk to make sure that L10N uses, to make sure that our controls properly collapse in on themselves in a particular order when they collapse in on themselves in a particular order when the element is sized or resized, basically laid out. The references to the individual controls is set up during construction time. But this happens before. This can happen. I think this does happen before layout occurs. And when using fragment overlays, we replace the items with data L10N name with a translated element that is sanitized. So the references that we set up during construction no longer point at the relevant element. They're pointing at elements that were replaced in the DOM, so they're no longer connected to the DOM. That's the problem. So ideally, we would make sure that translation has completed before we get all of those references. I think that's maybe our solution here. But we might have to get back to that at another time. I think I'm gonna wowie kind of a doochie. What's a doochie, Smurf D? Doochie. Define doochie. The Earl of Doochie? I'm not sure what you're saying, Smurf D. But I suspect you're not referring to the Earl of Doochie. Oh, wrongly spelled. Okay. I suspect what you mean is, wow, what a non-obvious bug. That's what I assume you're saying. And yes, that's what we're hitting. One of the nice things about Fluent is that it's asynchronous. It does all this translation on the fly. I think part of the issue is that the video controls set up all of those references way too early, before localization is completed. And maybe we need to wait until localization is completed before we set up those references, and then add a bunch of documentation for this stuff. Excuse me. I'm sorry for doing a high fidelity belch into the microphone. Hey, so I think we're going to end this ASMR version of The Joy of Coding. Thank you so much for watching episode 280. I hope that was really interesting. Let me know what you thought. There's a rate this episode link in the agenda right here. If you follow the agenda, in fact, let me copy the link address and put it inside the Twitch chat. So if you follow that form, you can let me know what you thought. Maybe you always want me to speak like Mark Wahlberg, or maybe you always want me to kind of do an ASMR part where we dig into like a rebase or something really calmly and smoothly. That's cool. Let me know. Doozy. Smurfy meant doozy. Yes, it's a doozy. But hey, we got there. We figured a thing out. I think that's what was important. It was very circuitous, but we got there. And the good news is that I think this is probably the root for most of those other failures, is that the references aren't being set up correctly. So, or they're out of date by the time the resize occurs. So, we might be on our path here to fixing this soon. But we'll check it out next time. Hey, thank you so much for watching episode 280 of The Joy of Coding. I hope to see you next week. Have yourselves a great week. Take care. Bye-bye. This is going to be like a really sort of raucous closer, because I'm going to play the closing theme, and it's not going to blend well with my ASMR thing. So, have yourselves a great rest of your week.
The joy of coding.
What a tone shift. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.